So before we close, I have some questions that people have written in, who we shall not name. And I am going to ask you to give me one-line answers to these questions, if it's possible. I have doubts. Okay, the first one, which I thought was really interesting, was what was your one biggest takeaway from GT?
One biggest takeaway from GT?
Repeating the question counts as your one-line answer, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, then you're not going to get an answer then. My one biggest takeaway from GT is evolution is a lifelong process. It is a lifelong process.
Yeah. You're stopping.
I mean, I can go on.
Do not.
Answer.
Wait. This was another one that someone was really interested in. In one line, I will give you 2 lines for this. Explain why PTK is the most effective Filipino martial art.
I can't. I don't know enough about other Filipino martial arts.
Okay. This is, I don't know if you can answer this.
I can give an answer to the question though. I would not necessarily run behind PTK. I would run behind a good teacher. If you want to do Filipino martial arts, look for the best teacher, regardless of whether it's PTK or whatever, because that's going to give you the most bang for your buck. Because
which is the next question. Who according to you are the best teachers for PTK in the world today?
I mean, GT, obviously. Tuhon Philip, Tuhon Kanishk. I've only very Tuhon Depita. I'm going to just name all my friends. Tuhon Mick, Tuhon J, Tuhon Belton. Is there anyone I'm forgetting that I really like training with? I mean, every time I get my hands on Tuhon Philip, I try and get as much from him as I can. For sure, Tuhon Philip is the go-to guy currently. I did have a chance to do 1 or 2 seminars with Tuhon Loki from Canada. Also a student of Tuhon Philip. I loved every second of that, and I've had a chance of doing a couple of sessions with a lot of Tuhons, and a lot of them have been great. I still think Tuhon Philip is the top of my list, just because of how much he's seen and how much he knows, and the fact that he fights. He's one of the original dog brothers. He's fought gazillion times, and so everything he teaches you, you know that if there is no more hardcore guy than Tuhon Philip, and so if he's teaching you something, in spite of all of his fighting experience, there must be a reason.
Okay, next one. This is an interesting one. In your opinion, how are Tuhons as a category different from each other, and how are they similar?
It depends on whether, okay, actually most I can't think of a single, it's one line. Because GT has taught everyone differently, right? So he's taught me stuff differently from the way he's taught to Kanish differently from the way he taught other people differently. So the same thing, for example, ranging footwork, I do differently to Kanish does differently, and GT has made sure that we do it in this specific way. So if I do it in he's been like, no, you must do it this way. But he's told somebody else, no, you must do it this way. So we've all been taught differently. And that's why a lot of our expressions are a little bit different. Also, at some point, you start to specialize in something. I think you should specialize in something. So I try and specialize in double sword. And so that sort of also leads you down. So if you see a lot of what I talk about is double weapon oriented, double weapon rules, double weapons and stuff like that. A lot of my teaching is double weapon oriented. So that also makes it a little bit different. The people who you're teaching makes it different. Like, are you teaching military? Are you teaching civilians? Who are you teaching? That also can make stuff different. Similarities. I don't know similarities that can be across the board, because at this point I can't even say that GT is your main teacher as a similarity for every Tuhon across the board. I guess maybe I can't think of similarities that are across the board.
This is an interesting one. I don't know if you can answer this. So somebody said, please ask Tuhon if there are 2 people sparring and one person is if one person is doing Balintawak and one person is doing Pikiti Tershakali, would he be able to pick out the PTK practitioner?
You should be able to.
You should be able to.
Well, again, I don't know actually. because I've seen Brindavak practitioners fight, and maybe you would see them, maybe more live hand stuff. Maybe they try and close in more. I'm not sure. Maybe I haven't seen enough Brindavak practitioners fight. Maybe that could be the thing. I have seen some. Maybe I haven't seen enough to say that yes, I can tell the difference between a Pikiti practitioner and a Brindavak practitioner.
Slimy answer. Okay, let's see. Last question is
Sorry, I'm not saying Brindavak people can't fight at all. That's not what
that's why I'm going to edit it. I'm going to edit it.
That's not at all what I meant. In fact, their hand speed is frighteningly incredible. I am just saying I haven't seen enough Brindavak practitioners fight to know that this is how they express themselves in that sort of stick fighting.
Question. Do you think a weapon provides a false sense of security? I didn't actually know what that meant. I just thought it was an interesting question.
Was this asked by? That's going to get me in trouble if I say this.
Yes,
it depends on the weapon. It depends on the weapon. It depends also on how stupid you are. I'm going to be sweet. Like I know people who walk around with a knife in the pocket and like, oh, I have a knife in my pocket, I'm going to be safe. And then you ask them, have you ever for a second thought about what would happen if you had to, God forbid, draw that knife? Are you willing to put that into another person? And then you just see the face go white, right? This is a question that happens that's asked a lot in like gun communities, where people are like, oh, I'll just shoot the guy, right? And then people they made this rule called the 21-foot rule, where if I have a knife in my hand and you have a gun in your hand, and not a gun in your hand, if you have a holstered gun and I have a knife in my hand, or a concealed knife, I can still reach you within 21 feet before you can get off an accurate shot. Most times, right?
Throwing a knife at someone.
No, just
like bridging that.
Yeah, by the time I run it, it's 21 feet. So, yes, if you haven't done the training, for example, we have one of my students. He's a special forces guy. He specializes in sidearms. He'll have that gun out, cocked, loaded, aimed, like before you can take 2 steps, right? But that's training. If you haven't done the training, you're not going to get to your weapon, especially in a knife fight where statistics say that most knife attacks happen within 3 feet, blind side of the person. You're not going to see the guy coming, and before you even know what's happening, there's a knife in play. So in that context, are you trying to tell me you're trying to fend off a knife or trying to get your gun at the same time? It's hard. It's really hard, and if you haven't trained for it, it's not going to happen. So if you train for it, then I don't think you take these things lightly. If you haven't trained for it, you can get a false sense of security.
I'm going to ask you this last question, and I swear to God, somebody, please ask Tuhon Aditya if he thinks that he could take Conor McGregor in a fight if he had a stick in his hand.
Doubtful.
If you had a stick in your hand.
A stick is not some magic weapon that's going to knock him out.
Yes, that is the definition of the stick.
No, a stick is not. If I swing a stick at Conor McGregor, first of all, this is a guy who has fought professionally at the most elite of elite levels. He's not just an elite striker, he's also an elite grappler, right? Whatever you might think in the UFC where he stands in terms of elite striker, grappler, doesn't matter. The fact that he's reached that level makes him an elite striker and makes him an elite grappler. These guys have incredible sense of range, have incredible sense of timing, can adapt to things incredibly well. Will I hit him? Of course I hit him. If I don't knock him out in the first strike, he's gonna take me down and destroy me. That's what's because I will have the reach advantage, but as soon as he gets past that stick, once he can grab my hand, grab me, or grab the stick or whatever, he's an elite grappler. And then the stick, if you give me a blade, it will be different. It might be different. If you give me a sword, it will definitely be different. But that's because now that one shot ends the fight, right? Like with the stick, if I don't end the fight in that first hit, I'm in trouble.
I'm just gonna, yes, Tuhon Aditya thinks he can defeat Conor.
No. I really hate MMA.
Thank you so much for your time today. And I have a feeling that there's going to be lots of questions.
She is censoring me.
I am censoring you.
So many more things to say, so many more rants to give.
Oh my Lord, it's been a year and a half of rants. Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to me. And I'm sure we're going to get lots and lots of questions after this, which I will put together. And I'm sure this will become a bi-monthly thing, which will be a lot of fun. We can talk about all kinds of things.
It's a bi-monthly thing, but we'll see.
Okay, thank you, Tuhon, Aditya.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha.
You're welcome.